I took some time to contemplate Thousand-Year-Old Vampire and the story of Clovis Ravenor thus far. Let's review and anchor Clovis a bit more in history. So Clovis became a vampire in 1467, 2 years after Edmund Grey became first Earl of Kent. They knew each other from before, possibly while Edmund was Treasurer of England. I'll say Clovis was in his early to mid-30s at game start. We'll call it 34. He was a good Christian man. Being raised by the church helped. Yes, Clovis had his temptations. He coveted a married woman and he wrestled with murdering her husband. Yet it is not envy which led to Clovis meeting Samara. It was kindness, a virtue, compassion for another. How quaint. And the turning wasn't with Clovis's consent, but Samara, was not unkind, and stayed around to aid Clovis after his transformation, and taught him his new life. This was a reward for Clovis, for what she saw in him. He retained his compassion for a time in Unlife. He met with Father Francis, obviously stayed connected with the community, and in service to Edmund Grey, he agreed to instruct William, spent pleasant time with his sire, harbored no ill will toward her. He accepted another immortal into his home, an immortal which somehow, recognized him, and expended his essential herbs and spices to aid it. Over the course of these 8 prompts, I'm going to say 80 years have passed. Could be longer, but we're going to go with that. Things change with this prompt, and we're going to say this is about halfway through, 40 years. That is one interpretation of how long a generation is, but that can vary, you know? Here we are. That in the book does suggest the initial prompts being close together, as well as suggesting that you interweave the prompts appropriately through time as you see fit, or how long these things take. Once we get to prompt 13, the passage of 40 years, Edmund Grey's dead. I'm pretty sure his son's dead at that point, too. Which, yeah, just check to confirm that. The second Earl of Kent, which leaves us with the third Earl of Kent. Just about everyone Clovis had relationships or interacting with has died or become too ill. Clovis would be 74 by this point, and not really showing signs of age. He's going out less. He's had to go out less. He can't be out in the sunlight, of course. He keeps odd hours. And William, his protege, ends up fathering a lineage of servants who comb out through the night and day to take care of things that Clovis can't or won't. The insular nature of not being able to share daytime and having to keep weird hours, and now having these servants, and now embodying this forbidden lore, and now being exposed to all these supernatural elements you weren't aware existed in the world, having to change how you perceived everything, how you were instructed as a kid, and how you learned your crafts. Fundamental mental shift, which begins to separate Clovis from compassion. And it's from there that, well, he develops a system for feeding, then he gains an advantage over the thing that should not be, then he financially profits from his feeding system. By this point in time, the third Earl of Kent has, like, incurred, like, immense gambling debts and has sold his land, basically. The title is in all but it's just irrelevant now at this point. Much of that land ends up going to the crown. Now, the town of Bedford and the town of Luton, perhaps about 1,000 people each, within 50 miles of London. There's no longer any point for Clovis to loiter around the region, Bedfordshire. And so I imagine he ends up migrating to London. Especially as the years continue to pass, by our final prompt, 80 years, Henry VIII has just died. The land has been consumed by the Protestant, Reformation, by Henry VIII collecting, royal power, by chucking his ministers left and right, along with his wives, into various memory holes. And Clovis would be over a century old. There may be someone alive who would remember him entering service to Edmund Grey. Someone mortal, of course, and there may very well be someone mortal whose entire lifespan is as long, if not longer, than Clovis's. But, there's no connection anymore. Everyone that he knew, everyone that he cared about, everyone who meant something to him is dead. And that ends up, I was about to say, nail in the coffin, to an extent, he ends up killing his past. He kills someone he respects, his sire. She confronted him about the monster he had become, and he lures her into a situation where he can poison her over a meal. And you can imagine, being, he's sitting, in a carriage, driven by horses and a servant. His other servants are, on a bluff, chaining his sire to a hill. And, Clovis watches through, the thick drapes, as the sun rises and obliterates Samara. The compassion he used to have is gone, replaced by callous efficiency and a willingness to blackmail, and a desire to learn more for his own benefit, for his own interest, for his own profit. What does he want at this point in life? He doesn't have a goal. He's living, and living is good. Now, 1,000-year-old vampire being what it is, it's a game of sorrow, as the degradation, the erosion of time, so living's gonna stop being so fucking good. But for now, he's got it. He doesn't have, connections in a sense, but he's got some wealth. He's got his, I can't call him a fleet of servants, but he has servants who are bound to him, who are at his beck and call. He's in London, far more people there, and given the distance, you might be like, 40 fucking miles ain't that much of anything. It is. No one really knows who he is. The few learned folks who might, surely he's not the same one, right? He's just assumed the mantle, the name. Clovis Ravenor, court physician of Edmund Grey, he must have had a kid. And, you know, we don't fucking have the records for that. We don't keep track of that anyway. He's not noble-born. What the fuck do we care, right? It's not the same one as he's selling bodies to clubs and institutions and nobility and folks who are interested in those sorts of things. No one's really fucking caring or looking into them. Yeah. Clovis, I would dare say he was a good person. And for a time, he retained that after becoming a vampire. And then he started stacking power. And Thousand-Year-Old Vampire also stresses this is not a game about like developing like political machinations, like power. Clovis, however, has done that for the moment. He's got security, he's got wealth. You know, his skills that he's developed, his feeding systems, his way of like handling people efficiently. The compassion is dead. So is he. Yet he reigns. Not in rulership, but perhaps there is opportunity for that. One potential story hook is in Henry VIII's successor, his sickly son, Edward VI. Historically, Edward dies several years after his father. Edward VI still has like a regency council when he dies. And Edward, I'm unclear about this, not my specialty. I have more of a background understanding in urban city and in European urban city planning and city life from pre-Renaissance to the Industrial Revolution than I do in this particular branch. Yeah, never thought I'd be able to whip that out. Thanks, college. But yeah, like, that whole chain of events, though, ends up leading to the 9-Day Queen, ends up leading to Mary, Queen of Scots, and ends up leading to Elizabeth I. So, there were times of peace in Clovis's unlife, and there have been times of instability, and we're right here, again, as Protestantism and Catholicism are waging war, effectively, across England. Not a hot war, but in a sense. And we have a regent king. I mean, Clovis. I haven't checked that skill of trained physician, but it's something he can do. It's something he most certainly has done to solve problems. Is use ingredients and substances and medicaments to provide succor and comfort, perhaps even a cure for the sick. Or, you know, this could just completely, like, caterwaul into some other direction and Clovis ends up having to move to Paris. Who fucking knows? That's just our situation, our setting, and most of what I've been pondering as it pertains to Thousand-Year-Old Vampire in the intervening time since last session. As regards to the game rules, we have done backtracking with these prompts. Now, we're rolling a d10 and a d6. As seen here. A different d10 today. Our average result on these is 2. We got a 55% chance of rolling at least a 2. There's a 10% chance of getting a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. The game's design has us slowly crawling. We can go as far back as 5, and as far ahead as 9. So we might rocket ahead at some point. But much like the game is meant to evoke, like, attrition and, like, erosion of memory and the self for your character over the passage of time, this book is going to be afflicting attrition. Who knows? Maybe we'll rocket through things and end up in the 40s. Or we'll be fucking dead. We're gonna roll to find out. I was gonna say play, but I don't really have much control over the situations, yeah? I'm doing some journaling here, and maybe if a prompt... There might be a prompt that allows me to choose something that may be of some mechanical relevance. We'll learn more about those as we go. I think that's it for our... Anything else I wanted to note? I did some minor restructuring of... Not restructuring, I added some stuff, like I added a sentence fragment here about Samara poisoned and left her to burn. If there are any other, like, edits I've made, I have forgotten, which means they are irrelevant. We have 5 unchecked skills. We have 4 unspent resources. We have 1 character, the thing that should not be. We blackmailed it for profit, the concoction of ineffability. Perhaps we will never meet it again. Perhaps I will make use out of this diary, instead of forgetting things and striking through a memory. I was wondering whether there's anything else. No, I think I have... This has been a reasonable enough distillation of my thoughts. Been ruminating and chewing on over the intervening time. Sort of thing that you can nestle in the back and scrubbing your body, washing your hair, or traveling somewhere. What about that? That was pretty fucked up, huh? Enough talk. Let's go. That's 8 minus 1. 7. We're rocketing to 12. Okay, new laws or social mores make it harder for you to hide among the populace. How are you nearly caught and destroyed? Check a skill, create a skill, create a mortal criminal who assists you. Okay. Let's go ahead and copy this text. Transition us to the character sheet. And put that in. This is 12. So, the first thing that comes to mind here that Clovis doesn't really understand the differences between being a Protestant and being a Christian, being a Catholic, like being under the Pope branch and being under the English King branch. And so the oaths, I think there was an oath at the time that Henry VIII required, like every adult male in England to swear. This may be apocryphal, and of course, again, not my forte. Not my fort. This seems like the most relevant thing, though. Clovis doesn't really, like, he, like, he's been active in the world, and he's been paying attention, but there's, he was raised and trained in certain ways, and he can't, like, the old habit's still there. Oops. And, so that's gonna make it harder for him to hide among the population. That makes sense. How are you nearly caught and destroyed? Perhaps, I don't know whether, like, a mob is appropriate, though I have moved to London a group of concerned citizens, a club, folks who have taken matters into their own hands, and, Clovis says the wrong thing around them. He's out one evening, he's perhaps at a pub of some kind. He's having a drink, like looking for potential targets, just, you know, ingratiating himself, and he makes a faux pas. And that is the incorrect, those were the incorrect words to say in that situation. So we need to check a skill, we'll create a skill, and create a mortal criminal who assists you. What's the skill we're checking here? Trained Physician, The Devil's Footsteps, Forbidden Lore, Callous Evaluator of Life, and Efficient Slaker. What is shown about Clovis here? How does he extract himself from this situation? It's gonna be the Devil's Footsteps, right? After him! fucking books it. No one thought this man could move that fast. And he is out. Out of the pub, like, quickly, like, weaving through, like, the streets. And, like, alleyways, like, hopping from, like, rooftop to rooftop, like some sort of Assassin's Creed dumb shit. That's him. That's what he does. And where the fuck did he go? Who was that? How could we... Where? How? So that's our... I'm pretty sure that's how we're... That's the skill we're checking there. Now we gotta create a skill. The skill we're creating, I guess, is going to be... either pertaining to our daring escape, or perhaps pertaining to Clovis's, like, dawning awareness of this whole Protestant situation. You know, like an understanding of religious strife. I'm gonna just blow through this. I don't want to spend too much time on this. We're just gonna call this Streetwise. Clovis is streetwise now. What does that mean? He hasn't had the city life before. He's learning about it. And perhaps that will come up. I will miss having you uncheck Devil's Footsteps, but now this is something Clovis has done. It is a part of the fabric of, you know, his history now. The teachings of Samara. His connection with his sire. Okay. Now I gotta create a mortal criminal who assists Clovis. That one's rough for me. You look back. It says I gotta create a character. I mean, I know I'm allowed to gently massage prompts, but it kind of wants me to make a fucking character, yeah? One's stumping me. Well, I don't have to have, like, any strong or powerful relationship with them. One moment, there's a bunch of chaos happening outside. Great, peace has been brought back to the land. Where was I beyond this headache? Yet another one. So, mortal criminal. We'll say... a cut purse. Who was in the... hub. Either that or like a card cheat, or someone who's there at the door as we're making our flight, and Clovis rushes past, And the cut purse takes advantage? Create a mortal criminal who assists you. Okay. Let's start typing a memory, and maybe it'll come to me then. Where the fuck am I gonna put this? Probably with memory 1. As I am no longer residing in the court of Lord Edmund Grey, Earl of Kent. Yeah, 2 and 3 are complete, and I'm not shuffling them to the diary. It doesn't make sense for 4. And putting it on 5 is just weird. I guess I could forget 5. Just where did I get this money from? Alright. I moved to London. In the 1500s. In the 1540s, we'll call it. But I no longer a servant of anyone. A servant of no one. I moved to London in the 1540s. No longer a servant of anyone. That just... like, that phrase just... it feels weird with the sentence. It's just like, oh, by the way. No longer a servant of anyone. I moved to London. See here. After the 3rd Earl sells his land, I move to London. But my poor understanding of Protestantism nearly gets me killed. Does it really? How are you nearly caught and destroyed? Okay, yeah. Is that how he remembers it? Is that how he frames it in his mind? Nearly gets me lynched? Is that whatever that? Is that? Sure. We'll just say that. That way it's a bit more descriptive than lynched. And my poor understanding of Protestantism. What a what a sentence. I say burned. Is that is this worthy of a burning? We'll say lynched. Yeah, he's not a witch. Just he's a Catholic. It's different. After the 3rd Earl sells his land, I move to London. And my poor understanding of Protestantism nearly gets me lynched by angry pub dwellers. What? Angry pub dwellers, Grimith? by furious pub dwellers change my mind. This is so... What the hell, Grimith? Wrap that. Wrap it. It is wrapped. Oh. I thought I fixed this. What happened? What happened? Where did it go? I could have sworn I'd fixed this. Very well. We'll put it here. No. We'll put it here for now. This matters to me. We're gonna fix this now. Fixed? Oh, you dumbass. That would be why it's not fixed. Why didn't you just click the whole row? That would be why it's not fixed. Good enough. Get back to work, you slacker. My poor understanding of Protestantism and my, poor understanding of Protestantism, my Protestant ignorance? That kind of implies something different. I'm gonna have to clean up this phrase. Not right now, though. My ignorance on Protestantism? My ignorance, and my Catholic upbringing? Catholic upbringing. And my... I don't want to phrase it like that. My, my ignorance about Protestantism. Well, it really is my Catholic upbringing in a way. Catholic upbringing. That would have been a way for that to chain in too, of course. But that memory's already full. And also, it's telling a different story with William, which wouldn't fit with that. Protestant pub dwellers. I want to put a comma here. Ah, fuck it. Furious Protestants. I'm gonna put this as 2 sentences. I don't want to chain this with Grimith says, then sighs. Single evocative sentence. I narrowly escape the pub thanks to the efforts through the help of a demagogue, a cut purse, a burglar, a thug, a protagonist? I'd call him a protagonist. I'm kind of hooked on that idea now. Not protagonist in the way I would typically use it, but yeah. A protagonist named Bert Smith. Oh, Bertie. Bertie. There we go. Just get me the hell out of this prompt. I'm done with this prompt now. Okay. Yeah. I'm Clovis Ravenor, an English physician and alchemist residing in the court of Lord Edmund Grey, Earl of Kent. After the third Earl sells his land, which that selling would have been before Henry VII died, so that would have been like in the 80s, 90s, maybe like the final decade, like the early 1500s. I don't, like, you know, the aughts. It doesn't matter. After the third Earl sells his land, I move to London, and my Catholic upbringing nearly gets me lynched by furious Protestants. I narrowly escaped the pub through the help of a protagonist named Bert Smith. I did not think that when I initially rolled this that I would be spending forever, it feels, on this prompt. Yet here we are. Congratulations. Bert, welcome to existence. This is you. You exist now. Bert Smith, a London protagonist. He helped me escape angry Protestants. Cool. Great. Yeah. Put that down there? Is that how I want to put that? I got some minor, like, about putting that with one. But it's fitting for that. It's a change of location. And that's the thread that I'm going with there. Yeah. Yeah, okay. We probably shouldn't have, you there. There we go. Bird's alive! I don't think there's gonna be, yeah, like, any, like, budding friendship. It was just, an alliance of convenience, right? Yeah. Great. That's the longest I've taken on a damn prompt. Gonna blame the chaos outside, hiccuping my thought processes. Though, look, just call him a thug and roustabout. You can't use protagonists like that, Grimith. Thug and roustabout. Great. Wonderful. Now it's all healed. Fuck me, I do all this musing in between. In between, like, our sessions, and it still takes me that long. Just imagine if I wasn't thinking about the Protestant Reformation, for fuck's sakes. Alright. 3 minus 2. 1. About damn ricocheted off the desk. That takes us to 13. Which, if I remove the camera, we've seen this one before. So we go to the second bit. Yes? Yes, the second bit. Alright. I show you folks that. Now, we don't want to leave you there too long. You might read things that you shouldn't. So you can pause the video, of course, at any time and do that. Your servants are numerous, enthusiastic, and sometimes useless. Create a skill based on a memory. This is the skill you use to control them. Okay. So we got a number of memories here. Some powerful ones. I'm thinking of basing this off of 3. Ruthless Taskmaster. I could also base this off of number 5, and perhaps even chain it off of 5 as well. Yeah. We'll call this, insert row below, Organizer of Men. That's a resource, Grimith. Can't do that there. That's illegal. Do I want to phrase it as Organizer of Men? Maybe, I've already used the word efficient, so I don't want to... How about I just relabel the thing if something comes to mind in the future? Let's just get this done right now. Organizer of men. Thank you, Grimith. I begin selling the cadavers of my patients to institutions, clubs, and other interested parties. I am paid in gold for my efforts. Now I'm starting to wonder whether I can this will actually gel here with Memory 5. My servants... My servants comb the streets of London. Comb the London streets for more opportunities. Oh, here we go. Director of men? I don't want to use the word overseer. We'll call this the director. I know what that means. It sounds ominous as a skill. The director. I direct my servants through the London streets in search of more profitable opportunities. There we go. I like that. Holy shit. You'd almost think that I could answer a prompt in some reasonable... My word. Yeah, I begin selling cadavers of my patients to institutions, clubs, and other interested parties. I'm paid in gold for my efforts. I direct my servants through the London streets in search of more profitable... In search of... more goods to sell. Of more marketable goods. Yeah, that's how we'll call that. More marketable goods. I'm pleased. Five minus 1. 4. That's gonna take us to 17, yeah? It's gonna take us to 17. You commit a despicable murder, but not for the sake of feeding. Why? Check a skill. Remove a mortal character if you like. Okie dokie. We have murdered. Understood. Let's think about what skills we're going to check here. Trained Physician, Forbidden Lore, Callous Evaluator of Life, Efficient Slaker, Streetwise, The Director. You commit a despicable murder, but not for the sake of feeding. Okay. Callous Evaluator of Life is getting checked here. We're not murdering Bert. let's see here. So we came to London, and the social mores are giving us trouble, like, adjusting. Our servants are combing through the streets for new opportunities, so it makes sense to tie the murder into, like, perhaps our frustration over these stupid, like, new laws that threaten to destroy Clovis because he doesn't understand. Why couldn't we just be under the Pope? Why do we have to do all of this shit? I laugh about that. The alternative is to sob, which, based on what Clovis has done. Back to the whole despicable murder bit. Who we killing, Grimith? Who is Clovis killing? Would it kill, perhaps a potent or prominent member of government? Would you wish to just slay, well, we ticked Callous, Evaluator of Life. I guess this is more fitting than being trained physician here in this regard. And just say a couple years have passed anyway. Now, am I going to put what I am writing here in number 1? Or do I make this its own memory? And if I make it its own memory, what do I put in the book? Or just what do I forget? All these are too close to... 1 through 3 are too close to who Clovis is. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting this in the diary. I certainly don't feel comfortable forgetting them. 4, while it's an incomplete memory, I feel fine putting that in the diary. We just forget about it. And then 5 is just the sort of thing that we might just straight up forget. Let me look up the game rules about interweaving memories and experiences together. Okay. Memories are a collection of related experiences built up over time. A memory is an arc of experiences that are tied together by subject or theme. Memories are not necessarily linear or chronological. They are a container for experiences that are related in some way. I don't think killing Edward VI is gonna... So, like, I can tie it to the second experience here. Can I tie it to the first? Does it make sense? As a callous evaluator of life. I think it does. It's what I've been chewing over. Because, Clovis is deeply upset And he is going to go after... He's an opportunist. He's going to take advantage of something here. And so, this is like Edward's final year of life. He has been... It's a pretty serious diagnosis. The Regency Council and his, like, household estate are looking for any means to resolve. They're slinging money left and right. How does Clovis get access? Oh no, shit, that ties in with 5! That doesn't tie in with 1? Oh my goodness. Does it make more sense to use the director than Callous Evaluator of Life? Yes. They bring me... No, we should still do Callous Evaluator. They bring me the greatest prize of all. The terminally ill Edward, King of England. King of England. And I make good use of what little remains. And I make perfect use of what little remains. Yeah. Let's do that. I begin selling the cadavers of my patients to institutions, clubs, and other interested parties. I am paid in gold for my efforts. I direct my servants through the London streets in search of more marketable goods. They bring me the greatest prize of all. An opportunity to ensnare. An opportunity to ensnare the ill, the sickly. Edward VI. Edward VI, King of England. And I make perfect... Let's put a semicolon there. Okay, that tells a fucking story. That's sweeping and prominent. Yeah, sure. We just fucking committed a despicable murder, not for the sake of feeding. Why did we kill him? We killed him because we're a callous evaluator of life. Like he was gonna fucking live anyway. Can you imagine what his body could sell for on the market? What the fuck, Grimith? What the fuck? You can't do that! Well, Clovis can. And he did. Great. And, you know what? We're, for Clovis, this was Tuesday, right? I'm actually going to, take this. This most likely is the first thing I put in my diary. Because what a bad thing that is to write down, right? You don't want anyone getting access to that. Just fucking... Yeah, just fucking murdered the King of England. He was 15! Fuck him. There's a market for him. What have I become? Yeah. Yeah. Move this back out of the way. That's a 6 minus 4. That's 2. Let's go down to the prompts. We were on prompt 17, so we're going to 19. Let's all go to 19. Let's all go to 19. Let's all go to 19 and see what is in store. 15, 18, 19. Two friendly characters become embroiled. Okay. Alright. We fucking murder the King of England. And there is opportunity here. We become involved and check a skill. We have the two characters if needed. How do you profit? Gain a resource. Why are you so gleeful about this, Grimith? Because it's terrible. Okay. Here goes another skill we're checking. But at least we get some sort of mechanical, tangible benefit from checking this one. Okay. What are we checking here? The director? Streetwise? This conflict definitely happens between, prominent members of the English government. They are friendly characters. They're not friends, but they're friendly to your boy, Clovis. Who the hell is that gonna be? And, how much do I... How powerful do I want to, like, make, like, Clovis's connection with, like, political machinations, right? Like, how big do we want to go? I think we go big. I think one of these characters is Mary the First. Yeah. Fuck it. That's what we're doing here. Absolutely. Mary's a friendly character. Probably because my servants... Yeah. So she had agents, we'll call them. And Clovis has agents. Edward had set up so that upon his death, Lady Jane Grey would be proclaimed as queen. And she speedily assembles her force in East Anglia, historically, and deposes her, and Jane's fucking beheaded, right? And I'm just gonna go ahead and tie Clovis into history and say one of his friendly characters is Mary the First of England. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, who the fuck's the other friendly character? I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Okay. Do I make it Elizabeth? Bert, actually, you need to fucking get down here, Bert. Bert, you are not above Bloody Mary. Mary, Queen of Scots. You do not get to you are not up there. Yeah. Okay. This is a story we're telling, huh? We are gaming, viewers. Just go ahead and put in the proper title here. No. Add Mary the First of England, no. Queen. Yeah. That how I want to refer to her? Yeah. Queen of England and Ireland. Yeah. Queen of England and Ireland. I arranged... I'm trying to think of, like, how I want to put this in a sentence fragment, right? I murdered her younger half-brother and I meddled with the succession. I earned her favor by murdering her half-brother. She knows. She fucking knows. Oh, oops. Don't minimize that, Grimith. You need that. Bring that back. Alright. Prompt log. Who's the other friendly character? The character that's friendly to you. To Clovis, I should say. Here's a situation here where I'm trying to, like... Who else would be friendly to Clovis, but also be fighting Mary? Since I've set the stakes there so high with that. It'd probably be some other, like, government official? Like, Elizabeth just doesn't make sense. Like, then again, what kind of fucking story does make sense since I killed... I'm actually gonna pause this. Yeah, I'm gonna pause the recording. I'm gonna do a bit of digging to come up with a name. Because I'm just drawing a complete blank, and I can't really, like, go further with, like, creating an experience until I resolve this. I'll be right back. Right. What a needless adventure that was. How the hell am I supposed to be playing a quick game and rapidly snapping through prompts if I'm choosing to try and anchor myself in history before I fucking derail history? Just couldn't, like, pick, like, some burgers or some, like, politicians or some kind. No. I decided that one of the two characters embroiled in the conflict is gonna be Mary the First of England, Queen of England and Ireland. Not the Queen of Scots, by the way. I I said that. And I shouldn't have said that. And please don't hurt me for that. I apologize. Not. Mary Tudor. Alright. Cool. So, in poking around with other potential folks, I've come up with someone who has a fitting enough connection that I can imagine, and who could be embroiled in a conflict with Mary, though historically he gets executed like so many other individuals do, as Mary is reversing our whole Protestantism bit, or trying. This is going to be Thomas Wyatt the Younger, Sir Thomas Wyatt the Younger. He was an English politician. He held a lot of land in Kent, and as it turns out, we've got some familiarity with the region. I have this written down here. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and erase that. You know, being how we were once upon a time in service to Lord Edmund Grey, Earl of Kent. It's geographically similar enough. His dad apparently created the sonnet, so that's Sir Thomas Wyatt's claim to fame. There was another possibility in a first Earl of Pembroke, who apparently was like the power broker and like the overseer of Edward VI, but managed to quickly recant everything when Mary came to power, and got some positions of prominence and renown, but I couldn't. This one seemed better. English noblemen. And so, the thing with Wyatt historically is a staunch opposition to Mary marrying Philip of Spain. That was a unpopular thing. Wyatt had his own Wyatt's Rebellion, which got crushed. So, and I'm thinking here that the connection is going to be a literary one. You know, stuff about, like, you know, correspondence and letters. Something that Clovis has retained. You know, like requesting, like, notes and bits about his dad. Perhaps Clovis had corresponded with his father. And he... English nobleman and prominent landowner in Kent. Just say English nobleman and prominent landowner. He staunchly opposed Mary's marriage to Philip of Spain. Okay. So that's neat. This is... I think this is the shakiest, like, prompt answer I have given. 2 friendly characters. Come involved, check a skill. Create up to 2 characters if needed. We have. How do you profit? Gain a resource. Okay. So there's a conflict here. And it makes sense in the context of this conflict I have made that he's dying. But maybe not. Maybe this rebellion doesn't get crushed. And it ends up getting some more steam in it. as fervor over like anti-Spanish like attitudes blend in together with like anti-Catholicism from the Protestants who don't want to go back to being under the papacy, and gets like genuine like real support, perhaps from foreign interlopers. Who can say? Yeah, yeah, okay. We're living in a different reality. Why the fuck not, right? So this ends up like bursting into like more than just a mere rebellion, but a larger conflict happening in the country. And Clovis here has gets involved. He checks a skill. How does he profit? We create a resource as a result of this. Trained physician, forbidden lore, efficient slaker, streetwise, the director. I was thinking about using trained physician, but instead, we're gonna go ahead and utilize the director here. Clovis, as it turns out, understands how to manage logistics real well. He understands the idea of supply lines, and has himself and his servants help themselves to... Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Damn. I'm just continuing to, like, stretch, like... fucking silly putty story here. Ah. Damn. Okay. Let's uncheck that. Alright. Let's start crafting a memory. Where do we put this? Do I put this in 1? Silence. Let's write a sentence here. Man, I am... At least this one makes sense to stump me more, I suppose. I am just... blank. I'm gonna take another break here. You know what? Fuck it. This prompt doesn't have to be that hard. Supernatural. Telling a bizarre, crazy story about vampires and scientific monstrosities and who knows what the fuck else. The two friendly characters are Mary the First of England and Elizabeth Tudor. Elizabeth builds astonishing popular support to overthrow the Queen. That whole rebellion shit, the whole like anti-Spain sentiment, and like the Protestant like the power, it surges forward, and it's not easily swatted back. They have a figurehead here in Elizabeth who chooses to assume the mantle. And both of these characters are friendly to Clovis. Not friends, but contacts, in a sense. After all, you know, their half-brother wanted to write them both out against his father's plans. So our skill we're going to check here is the director. And we're going to be making use out of Clovis's servants, basically, his understanding of logistics, ability to pathfind these opportunities as, like, rebellion, insurrection, just violence erupts across the country. And Clovis has his eye on a collection, a certain, like, prominent, like, antiquarian collection, and he obtains it. We're just going to go ahead and write down he has arcane manuscripts, perhaps holding power, or the promise thereof, that he can spend with his forbidden lord to create something more. There. Done with this prompt. I need to write an experience. I will. We'll tie it to this memory. In response, I wanted to tie in, having killed Edward up here, too. Though, perhaps that's a bit of a stretch. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and make that a separate experience. So we'll put this in the diary. It gets written down. Doesn't make great... I want to write that down. Yeah. I don't want to forget anything else. I don't want to write anything else down. That's the thing gets written down. And while I think I could tie this together, when conflict brews, between Mary and Elizabeth over English rulership, I have my servants pilfer an antiquarian's collection. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Great. Fucking wonderful. Just want to do like a final review here. I got my characters there. And perhaps that will be relevant for the other prompts. I've answered 4 now. Doesn't make sense to axe anyone. We're in the midst of turmoil here caused by these prompts. This is its own separate thing. And in the diary, I have jotted down that I have, ultimately, that I'm... well, I've been selling bodies to people, my patients, and I murdered, Clovis murdered Edward VI. Great. Wonderful. That should be written down. That means I should add a resource for that. Yeah, let's do that. Diary. A leather-bound book. I don't think I'm gonna go fancy here. I'm just gonna use one of the book's default examples. Let me look at the other suggested examples. Clovis knows how to read. Diary, a sturdy leather-bound book. Yeah, we'll just use that wording precisely. There. Let's put that in. Just... Cha. I don't like how that reads. Brackets. Beautiful. Great. I love it. Now, if something should happen that causes something to happen to the diary, and the game certainly warns about that, this knowledge can be gone forever, or perhaps twisted or contorted in some other way. Yippee!